Hey everyone, welcome back to your week ahead astrology breakdown with me, Matthew from Stillwater Alchemy. This week we have everything going on. Mercury and Jupiter stationed direct. We have a full moon in Aries and the beginning of Scorpio season, one of the best times of the year, in my humble opinion. So, lots to look forward to, a lot of energetic shifts. So, let's dive in and see how this is all going to shake down, shall we? Also, just a general note, I've been saying this for a long time in my content, but a lot of people have been feeling very sleepy, very exhausted. These retrogrades were not playing around, and we had 4 planets stationing retrograde in a matter of 12 days. Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury. And even when we start off on Monday, October 18th, we see that Jupiter is direct. However, Mercury is still technically retrograde. If we fast forward 3 hours, when we get to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Mercury direct. So just note, depending on where you are in the world, that Monday could still feel like things are wrapping up, that you still may be waiting on correspondence. Thankfully, though, with Jupiter direct, we're going to feel like things are moving forward, especially as we're leading up to this Aries full moon on Wednesday. And again, if we're looking at the times that I'm using for these videos, it's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're on the West Coast of North America, that would be 6 a.m. on the Monday. If you're in Europe, that would be approximately 5-6 hours ahead. So that would be 2-3 p.m. on the Monday. And then if you're in Australia, New Zealand, that would be approximately 2 p.m. on Tuesday when I'm doing this. Okay. So just to keep that in mind. But with that Aries moon in play, we're ramping up for this full moon energy. So you might feel like there's a lot of energy that has been building, especially throughout this entire retrograde period. So I want you to move this energy around. Remember, Monday is ruled by the moon. So with having the moon in a fire sign, especially in Aries, I want you just to, if you've been feeling any stress, anxiety, tension, or you're just feeling lethargic, I want you just to shake it out, to dance, have sex, physical activity, whatever that may be. Move this energy through your body. And that way it's going to set you up very nicely for what's ahead later this week. And if we're talking about sexy times or just feeling adventurous or playful, Tuesday, we now have Mercury stationing direct, and then we have the moon making a trine to Venus. So this is one of the best aspects of the week, in my opinion, having this really benevolent energy here. And also, too, Mercury now direct, it's still going to be in those post retrograde shadows, right? So it doesn't mean that once Jupiter and Mercury station direct, that everything is going to change in a blink. If you go on TikTok or just certain people, miracles happen every day. One day when 2 planets station direct, of course, everything could change spontaneously, but I think we're going to see a lot of that release come after the full moon. And so with this moon trining Venus, that's going to be a nice little preview or a mouche bouche on what's been coming through, especially for those of you who have been channeling love, relationships, more intimacy. With us still being in Libra season and then having the moon trining Venus, I think a lot of this is going to really showcase itself. And I mean, if we're talking about the topic of sex, we even have Mars making a trine to Jupiter. And this is something that I was channeling as I was preparing for this video, is travel as well. If some of you have been wanting to take a trip with a partner, or now with Mercury and Jupiter stationed direct, you maybe have more information, or you want to now have a serious conversation of maybe you want to spend the holidays somewhere, or looking forward to next year, just getting excited about a trip, or potentially just travel plans landing on your lap. I do think with Mercury and Jupiter both having connections to travel, and now having Mars making a trine to Jupiter, it's like Jupiter is just now stationing direct, but then Mars is there kind of wanting some more fun and adventure. And again, this moon Venus, like I just feel That's why I want you to release some of the energy on Monday. So when we get to Tuesday, you're present and grounded to receive all of these blessings that are coming through. Especially, like I said, if you have dominant fire energy in your chart, Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo, with all of these nice connections, finally, with us having some fire energy back in the cosmos, this can be very exciting, or even just your own internal flame being rekindled, or you feeling more passionate or motivated, inspired to act or to move or to collaborate, whatever that is for you. I feel like this week, that's what I'm really excited about, in conjunction with both of those planets stationing direct. When we have Wednesday, we have the full moon in Aries. So the exact time will be 10:56 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What's interesting is that this full moon in Aries, it's ruled by Mars, right? Aries and Scorpio ruled by Mars. And so we have Mars in Libra directly opposing this moon. So I do think this is going to feel potentially like a very pivotal time, with us reflecting on Libra season, with us reflecting on the lessons that we learned throughout Mercury retrograde, and how are you going to stand in your autonomy and in your personal power without giving away yourself to certain relationships or collaborations or energy that are no longer serving you. And that could mean cutting energetic cords, leaving situations that are no longer aligned. And I mean, toxicity, toxic masculine, just toxic environments are always talked about in the spiritual community. This whole red flag, viral meme energy sometimes doesn't have to be toxic or a red flag. It's just no longer aligned. People like to take it to the extremes a lot, but it just means that this vessel, this space, this relationship is no longer in alignment with where you know you're going. So I think that's going to be a very pivotal sentiment for this Aries full moon. And if you want a further resource, I have my full moon in Aries workshop. I always put a lot of time and love into those resources, and the link for that can be found in the description of this video if you want more information. I also have a meditation that focuses around us reclaiming our personal power and letting go of what no longer is serving us. So that Wednesday, I feel like this will be the catalyst for then all the blessings to land. Because remember, full moons are a time for us to release, surrender, let go. And the moon is basically making aspects with every planet. Of course, the opposition with the sun, it's a full moon. The opposition with Mars, it's still making that opposition to Mercury. Aspect wise, there's a square to Pluto, there's a sextile to Jupiter. It's all happening. So please, please, please take that midweek for yourself. And I also think moving forward, we'll discuss this, but there's going to be even more offers or more energy. Now that we have all those planets direct, things will move quickly. I mean, that's Aries energy, right? That cardinal fire, the match, the one-hit KO, the ram, all of this stuff just propelling us forward. I also have a lot of clients with prominent Aries energy. I myself have an Aries moon. They've all been exhausted. They've all been tired. And I think it's because their higher self, subconsciously, they know they needed the rest for what's about to come through. So when we move to Thursday, we have the moon making a square to Saturn. The first thing for me that came through when I saw this, I'm like, boundaries. We just talked about how with that full moon being in a Mars ruled sign, there may be a lot of revelations that come through. There may be you awakening to a higher part of yourself. And I always say this not in a mean way or not to scare anyone, but the universe does push back on us. It does test us to ensure that our actions align with our words. So if you have all these great ideas and now you're implementing them, there may be triggers or old relationships or people from your life that are wanting to pull back on your energy to deviate your time from what you know you're meant to pursue. So this is going to be a great time for you to just be grounded, to know where we're going to place our time. If we're talking about Saturn, to allow us to feel supported and nurtured. And I mean, we also have the moon conjunct Uranus throughout Wednesday. It's making that applied conjunction. So this can be instantaneous energy or instantaneous offers that just land on your lap. It really can happen that fast once we get clear and use these powerful energetic transits to our advantage. And also, this was just, again, another channeled message that came through. If some of you are having issues or have been working through addictions with chocolate and alcohol, those two specifically came through. I think that might also be you getting a handle on that and setting and creating better boundaries and structures around what you need for nourishment. If we're talking about the moon in Taurus, that really is food, home, shelter, to make sure that you actually have the adequate energy to put forth into projects that are now coming through for you. And then if we have Friday, this is great too, because the moon is making a square to Jupiter. And for me, there aren't really any bad aspects when it comes to Jupiter. It just can be sometimes overwhelming. There can be a lot that's coming through. And so this is what I'm saying with that moon making a conjunction to Uranus, revelations, ideas, emotional charges, or even like we talked about before earlier on in the week, I think a lot of you are attracting and manifesting greater love, higher love. That's kind of been a through line for me, is the song Higher Love by Whitney Houston, the remix by Kygo. I've been having it playing on my workout list all month. And Friday is the last day of Libra season. So what are we calling in? What are we feeling? What are we attracting on Friday? Even just honoring Venus in that moment, given that she rules over Friday, I think that would be beneficial, because now we have Venus getting closer and closer to that sextile with Jupiter. She's still far away, but it's a nice energy that we can start to see that we really are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. These transits are really helping us, that everything that you've went through, especially over the past few weeks in Libra season, it's propelling you to have lots of offers, lots of choice, to feel safe, to have the resources to pursue what you have been cultivating. And when we get to Saturday, we have the sun move into Scorpio. So Scorpio season is very intense. I'm going to be talking a lot about that more in depth later, especially on my Instagram page. But for now, just to note that the October portion of Scorpio season is a bit lighter, so to speak, because once Mars goes into Scorpio, then we'll talk about that later. For those of you who know astrology, that will be a lot. But again, that is going to be the Phoenix rising moment. So for all those who love that deep alchemy, that deep transformation, that'll be happening in November. But for now, I want you to really set some goals and intentions this weekend, because we have the moon in Gemini. She's making a trine to Saturn. And I'm always a big proponent of setting goals, of using journaling to your advantage. So with the moon in an air sign, and she's also making that applied trine to Mercury, which is now direct and gaining momentum and gaining speed. This is going to be a great time for you to channel, to do that breath work, to manifest, to set whatever goals you want around Scorpio season. Scorpio season is known for being very intense, passionate, a lot of links to the death and rebirth of the soul. And whatever part of your life you wish to see that alchemy, that transformation, that transmutation, I want you to set some goals around that on Saturday specifically, or just throughout the weekend for sure. And I mean, Saturday ruled by Saturn, it's a nice energy to have the moon there. And we almost have this grand air trine. I mean, if we go through later on Saturday, just to get the exact hour. Yeah, the moon so we have the moon at 6 degrees. Yeah, then we have this kind of grand air trine. We give the moon an orb of 12 degrees. And so now we can see this grand air trine. So especially for those of you on the West Coast in North America, that afternoon, that evening will be really nice. For those of you who are more active and present at night, if you have time to do some journaling or to just be mindful, that'd also be a good day just to meditate and see what comes through on Saturday evening, so that when we get to Sunday, and if we just fast forward to Sunday at 9 a.m. here, we can see that the moon is at 14 degrees. And we still, again, have this grand air trine in effect. The moon is now moving away from Saturn and moving closer to Jupiter. But you can just see that really big push of air energy, getting clear on our thoughts, getting clear on our words, Mercury gaining more and more momentum, gaining more strength. I think that you're going to see the fruits of your labor. If you hadn't done any full moon work or ritual by this weekend, I would really advise that, even if that's just releasing and using your words and your thoughts and letting go of that with all of this prominent air energy. And then we still have Venus in Sagittarius, thank goodness. And again, now we have Venus within 4 degrees of Jupiter. So that's really going to set us up nicely, very nicely for next week. So this just keeps getting better and better. I want you to really, please take advantage of that full moon energy, because that for me is the catalyst that's going to push us forward into this new timeline, especially when we get to Scorpio season. And we can just see that a lot of these planets are either gaining strength or they're in really nice aspect to one another to allow all of these breakthroughs and all of these downloads to happen very, very quick, especially with that Aries full moon is just like boom, boom, boom. Chris Brennan, a fellow astrologer, talks about this. He references that Mars in Aries is like a machine gun. And that's like, for me, just Aries energy. It's like, it's like, I want it now. And then Mars in Scorpio is compared to a sniper rifle in terms of how you can both use a Martian side of those signs. So we have the full moon in Aries, and then literally 3 days later, we have the sun move into Scorpio. So it is going to be telling how we use this energy as we wrap up Libra season to move forward. And like I said, in terms of the astrology, the best parts of Scorpio season are the October areas. Things get a bit more frictional and a bit more intense come November. So please use these benefic transits to your advantage. Let me know in the comments what you are claiming for this week. And also, this was a fun note that I noticed last week in the forecast. I talked about how Friday would be a good day for a sale or something comes through. I found a pair of running shoes and a pair of rain boots that were super cute. Both of them were on sale Thursday afternoon. And I thought back, I was like, oh, that's such a fun manifestation. So let me know also in the comments if there was anything that came through from the last week's forecast that really resonated for you. In addition, for what we're claiming this week, if there's any fun full moon in Aries rituals that you want to share or that you know that you're going to engage in, again, the link to our workshop is in the description. And any other questions you may have, please let me know and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a beautiful week. Please enjoy every single day. And I shall see you shortly next week for Scorpio season. All right. Bye.